it's not that dark. I can surely find my way. Right? Welcome back to my 12 days of travel Christmas, and in this video I'm gonna take you all the way to South Africa, Cape Town, because some weird stuff happened there as well. And if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I'm gonna do a video every second day until Christmas to tell you about my funny, weird travel stories, sometimes embarrassing, sometimes scary, to help you and entertain you with travels, right? Give me a like or subscribe if you haven't already, and let's move on, right? Okay, so I was in South Africa for the first time. I wanted to go back home from Japan to Germany, and I thought I need to squeeze in the country, and it happened that South Africa was on the way. It was a good deal, and I cannot resist a good deal, so I ended up in Cape Town. I didn't do any research. I didn't know what to expect. I just rocked up and saw what happened. A lot of people told me I should go see Book Up and then I should go on Table Mountain, which were no-brainers. Obviously I would do that, but also I was constantly cautioned because safety is an issue in Cape Town. I mean, the main places where you can go as a tourist, they're pretty safe. There's security everywhere, and people want tourists to be safe, obviously, because it's the most visited place in Africa, apparently, like Victoria Harbour. But I wanted to see Table Mountain, and I kind of wanted to do a hike all the way up, which is really challenging and takes a lot of time, so I wasted the morning and I couldn't do it anymore. I had to take a cable car, but I wanted to see the sunset at the very least, because it must be gorgeous. And it was, but it also was terribly timed because the last cable car kind of left just as soon as the sun had set, so I couldn't see all the glorious colors unfold, because after sun has set, that's when the colors really explode, right? And I wanted to take photos, but alas, I couldn't, so I just took all the photos as much as I could while watching the queue, so they wouldn't leave me there and I would have to hike back up in the dark, which I knew was dumb. I barely made it onto the last gondola all the way down, but since I didn't get to hike, I figured I might as well just walk back to my hostel, which was an hour away. And there's scenic mountains left and right, Lionhead Mountain, some suburbs. But I forgot about one essential thing. When you are in Cape Town, you need to check the news, because there are scheduled electricity cuts for certain regions and certain times, so they can distribute the electricity better and they don't have an overall electricity out. So I forgot to check that, and that was happening at the very moment I didn't pick the last bus. I let it go because I wanted to walk, and then suddenly the lights went out and it was pitch black because it was winter, well, late autumn, and it gets dark very easily. So in the middle of the night, I had to walk back for an hour. Turns out the area around Table Mountain isn't also the very safest because there's not many tourists there, and in the dark it's scary because you can barely see anything other than all of the cars racing by, because I was walking by next to the main road, and if you walk in the dark and there's only some really bright lights from the cars, you get blinded by them. So I could barely see in the dark. I couldn't see any shapes. I just realized every time I had to cross a little alley, and then there were some shapes everywhere, and it felt like everything was like rushing towards me, being startled that I was walking alone by myself, which is a dumb thing to do and I should not have done it. So I was inching my way forward, like feeling my way past picket fences and getting hit in the face by branches and all of that fun stuff, because there was absolutely no electricity. No house even had a candles lit or anything. They just waited it out, or they weren't even there. I don't know. Everything seemed to be shut as well. No restaurants open, nothing where I could seek refuge. I just wanted to go home. And at the very last stretch, I saw a restaurant who just started lighting up candles, and I just went in there and then I waited it out for another hour, and then I had to walk back for another 50 minutes. That was fine. But really, be careful in Cape Town. Watch the news. Keep up to date. Another thing why you should be, just be safe. There's so many regions in between the main tourist spots. Like, there's so many markets where you can get amazing food, but going between there, you really should take a taxi. There's cheap Grabs or Ubers everywhere, so it's fine. Don't walk. just take that. Like, for instance, I went to Bokap and I wanted to go to a specific restaurant I'd seen on TripAdvisor, but they had the wrong address. So I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. And I decided to ask this local woman. She had a bunch of kids on her, and I thought she looks like a safe person to ask. No one that could potentially just, overpower me and run away with my stuff, because she had kids. I don't think she would abandon the kids from my backpack. That was my hunch. So I asked her, and she went crazy on me. Her eyes widened. She got scared, and then she grabbed me by the arm. She was like, "You alone, girl?" I'm like, what do I say now? Is she concerned about me, or does she want to abduct me? Like, which is which? And she was really scared for my safety, because apparently she thought Bokap was not safe at all. It's a very touristy area, but I didn't see a lot of tourists there, and I guess some areas are a bit sketchy, and I must have walked into one of them. So she kind of dragged me onto the main road, and she demanded that I stay there. I'm not gonna go back because I gotta stay safe. Be safe, girl. And she was walking away while, like, always looking over her shoulder, making sure I wasn't being dumb. I was, of course, being dumb. I went back a while later, but nothing happened. And I guess it's better to go with someone else. Take a tour. Yes. So that was something where nothing really happened, but everything could have happened. And I just really like to share these stories to make sure that there's so many things that you might not think about it. So you always have to ask locals where you can go, which areas are safe, what time of the day, especially if you're a female solo traveler. A lot of men say, oh, this country is super safe, but maybe not for a woman. It's always different. And to say anything else is just ignorant. So yeah, if you had ever anything like that happen to you, like a weird area, you felt like weird in the stomach, you had a gut feeling that was off, or you've actually been in trouble, I would love to hear it, because I know it can't just be me that weird stuff happens to, and someone who makes questionable decisions every now and then. Speaking of them, I actually wrote a book about so many questionable decisions and weird adventures and near-death experiences in Australia and New Zealand. I put it on Amazon if you want to read it. There's a Kindle version too. And yeah, a new video in 2 days if you'd rather see me talk my face off and embarrass myself in front of the camera, yay. Then subscribe, enable notifications, and I hope I see you around. Wish you happy holidays until then. Bye!